Hello, Chill Computer Guy. Today we're here in Bitwig Studio 2. We are taking a look at long last, I've been waiting and waiting for the SSL console emulations to go on sale. And this is today only. It's Memorial, no, it's Labor Day. It's some holiday today, and it's Monday, and you have to, I believe midnight is when the sale ends. You got the solid state G channel for 30 bucks basically. Now this is normally a $200 plugin, or you have to bundle it with a package, and normally you can't even buy the plugin, you have to buy the bundle. But this is the SSL Logic G channel. Now they also have the E channel, which the E channel is a little bit different as far as you can do, high shelf, low shelf. You can also turn those into bells. This has a similar setup. This is a more aggressive EQ. Also, when you introduce gain or you cut certain frequencies, your Q is going to expand or decrease based on the amount of dB that you put into each band. It's all technical mumbo jumbo, but the G channel, in my opinion, is a more musical EQ. Now I'm a Reason user. My first DAW I ever used was Propeller Head Reason, and I love the Reason. So I'm very familiar with the SSL setup. It's kind of the EQ that I grew up with in a digital sense, I guess. As far as understanding, your high band, your low band, your mid-high, your mid-low, the dynamics, the gate, everything is built in. So Propeller Head Reason has all this stuff on this plugin built into the channel. But this plugin, I'm a huge fan of because I can actually see what's going on. It's laid out in a really nice way, and the thing is, you can take this plugin and slap it on every single channel in your mix and instantly have access to a really nice sounding compressor, a gate, your 4-band EQ, and also your filters. You have a high and low pass filter on each channel. And so this was a very familiar thing coming from Propeller Head Reason. Enough about Propeller Head Reason. Fuck that. This is about the standalone G channel solid state logic. What we have here is we have a piano loop, and we're going to go ahead and loop this, and we're going to mess around with this EQ a little bit. First off, we're going to start with the filter. Now you have a high and a low pass filter here. We're going to go ahead and cut some of the low end, cut some of the high end. This is kind of a piano loop, which is right in the middle, so it's going to be really a little bit harder to really hear the filter. This would be more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn a bunch of these knobs while this piano loop plays. I'm just going to shut up. We're going to start out with the high low pass filter, then we're going to move on to the EQ, and then we're going to go to the dynamics and finally the gate, and then I'm going to pull back and then explain what some of these knobs and buttons do. So here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and reset this. Go to full reset. By the way, there's tons of presets in here for just basic stuff, which is always helpful for finding a starting point when you go to EQ. But let's explain kind of the structure of this. Now this split right here, if you click on this button, it's going to put the high and low pass filter first. Actually, not quite first. Let's go down to this button here. This button right here, this is your input gain into the channel strip. So this is the very first thing you're gonna come across as far as the signal flow. So if I increase this, I'm pumping 18 dB of gain right into the. So if you basically you can drive the compressor. It isn't the greatest sounding compressor when you drive it, but you do have the ability to do that. So this is your first thing, is your input gain into the channel strip. But if you click this split, what this is going to do is it's going to put the high and low pass filter first in the signal chain, and then it will be followed up by the dynamics, and then the dynamics and gate, and then the EQ, I believe. I could be wrong on some of these things. So you have a bypass switch. This bypasses the EQ side. This bypasses the dynamic side. If it's bypassed, you're going to have the red LED on, so that's a really quick way to tell. So you can, work on your dynamics, bypass your EQ, and then bypass your dynamics and work on your EQ. So it's kind of a cool, nice little workflow thing. Analog on and off. This is just going to give you, I guess, an analog type old school kind of feel, and maybe some noise or something in there. Now, normally, if you're familiar with the Reason or the E channel or the propeller head Reason version, you have this is a bell or a shelf. So you can either click and have a bell or have a shelf. Now, if this light is off, you're going to have a shelf EQ. If this is on, then you're going to have something similar to a bell EQ. So that's basically the bell and shelf button, but it's a little bit different than the E channel as far as just being a shelf or a bell curve. Just know that if this is off, you're looking at a shelf EQ. If it's on, you're looking at a bell EQ. The X3 is just based on this Q factor down here. Now, something that is specific to the G channel is if I increase the gain, I'm narrowing the Q. Okay, so this is, of course, the steepness of the parametric curve right here. So this is a very wide curve. This is a very narrow curve. But as I increase this gain, it's basically taking this more into a narrow curve automatically. It's like an automatic type thing. As I decrease this, it's going back to a broader curve. That's something that is specific with the G channel. The E channel EQ actually has the same, whatever you set this Q to is consistent as you put more dB into that particular band. So starting with the low channel, you have a dB. You can go up to 17 dB up and down there, and then you have a 30 hertz all the way up to 450 hertz. That's your low band. And again, you can go, if this is on, it's going to be a bell. If it's off, it's going to be a shelf EQ. Just think of it like that. Now your low mid frequency, you can go from 20 dB to plus dB. So you have a couple more dB there. You can go of a Q 3.5 all the way up to 0.10, which is a very, very broad Q. And then you have 0.2. So this is 200 hertz all the way to 2.5 kilohertz. So that would be 2500 hertz. The mid frequency, the mid-high frequency rather, you can go from 20 dB to plus 20 dB as well. And you go 0.6, so that's 600 hertz, all the way up to 7.0, which is 7,000 hertz. And again, the Q is the same. It's 3.5 to 0.1, which is a very broad and also very narrow Q. And like I say with the G channel, as you increase the dB, it's actually going to narrow this Q automatically. And as you reduce the dB, it's going to broaden the Q. That's something that's specific to the G channel. Let me see the high band. We have minus 17 to plus 17, just like the low band. So you have 3 dB less on the low and the high band. And it goes from 1.5, so that's 1500 hertz, all the way up to 16,000 hertz or 16 kilohertz. So yeah, quite a bit of movement there. You go from 30 hertz on the low band all the way up to 16,000 hertz on the high band, and then your cutoffs, you can go clear down to I guess out 16, looks like 16, and then you can cut all the way to 350 hertz. And then your high cut goes from 3000 hertz all the way to like looks like 22,000 hertz or 22 kilohertz to 3 kilohertz. Quite a bit of EQ power, and as you could hear as I was turning those knobs, it really does introduce quite a bit of nice tones as well as cutting tones. So very useful EQ that you can pretty much use for anything imaginable as far as instruments and digital sounds. Now the dynamics, you have your compressor, your ratio from 1 to infinity, your threshold from 10 all the way to -20, your release from that's 1 millisecond, I guess, to 4 seconds. Then you have a fast and slow attack. The gate, you could hear that. It's just a basic gate right there. As I said, you can bypass the EQ, bypass the dynamics. Filter dynamics to side chain. That's if you want to use this as a side chain EQ. And then channel, I believe channel out puts the EQ before the dynamics, but I could be wrong. I'm not really sure on that. And you also have a phase reverse switch here, and then you have on your meter, you can meter the input or the output, which is really handy. That way you can listen to this. So yeah, super beautiful EQ. What I recommend is putting this on every single channel in your project. You have an easy compressor and EQ that will do just about anything. You can throw a gate in there if you need that. And then you have a little slider also, so you can use this. You can actually automate this slider. So this is kind of like having a utility also on the channel strip. So yeah, very handy, very useful. Yeah, I've been waiting for this one for a while. The G channel, solid state, great sounding EQ, great sounding filter, and it's all in one plugin you can throw on every mix channel. And yeah, to have this much ability to sculpt your sound all within one compact plugin, and it sounds good and it sounds analog-y and it just has an old school feel to it. And it's something that I understand clearly because, like I say, the SSL is kind of the EQ I grew up on. And just to have it in a nice compact plugin, and it sounds great, looks great. Super excited. 29 bucks. You got to get it today because the sale ends, I believe, tonight, probably at midnight, I guess. But yeah, check it out. Quick review, quick sale, quick tip. Anyway, gotta go. Chill Computer Guy. Please subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Give a comment. And hopefully I explained this well enough. Yeah, great EQ, great dynamics plugin. Solid state, G channel, waves, they make the best plugins, and they have the best sales. All right, we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.